Hello my dear students, our today's geography class will be starts from the page number of your textbook 26 and 27. It's the last class in this chapter, rocks and minerals, and the page number 26 starts with some points headed as try to know. Here is some points I have to discuss about only 3 points from this segment. The first question is, which rocks are laid between and near a pair of railway tracks? Why are these rocks found here? The rocks which are used in the railway track is known as track ballast. The typical term track ballast, TRACKBALLAST, and this term track ballast is the collective term for the crushed stones on railway tracks. So the rocks which are used in the railway tracks are the accumulation of crushed stones which are specially made for the use of this purpose. They form the track bed and are packed around railway tracks. They form the ground for the railway sleepers, and these are used to keep railway tracks upright. And due to upright position of the railway tracks, the drainage in the railway tracks will be properly done, and the space between two rail lines remain properly spaced for these track ballast. And this track ballast also helps to prevent the growing of vegetation in the railway track. So you have to answer this question like this. The track ballast is used in the railway track not only beneath the railway track but around the railway track, and these are used to keep railway tracks upright and properly spaced. It also helps to prevent the growing plants or vegetation in the railway track. And the next question is, why does a piece of granite glitter? All of you know that granite is an example of igneous rock, and granite formed in the interior of the earth as a plutonic igneous rock. So it takes long time for solidification or for cooling. So its crystal effect is much coarser, and for this crystal effect granite rocks glitter or sparks, or it seems highly glazy. And the next question is, uh, which rock is used to make a pencil lead and to which type of rock does it belong? In Bengali, we tell like sisha or sis, but the core of a pencil composed of graphite. Graphite is a form of compressed carbon and clay, and this is called as lead. But lead is a type of metal, though it does not used in the pencil. So the answer will be the core of a pencil composed of graphite, a form of compressed carbon and clay. This is called as lead, like the metal, though it does not. If lead is being used in the pencil, then it will be very toxic and it will be very heavy, but it does not use in pencil. So graphite will be the answer, graphite and clay. And the next point we will read rock forming minerals. In the previous classes I have already discussed about this, but here is brief discussion about minerals. So what are minerals? Elements or compounds that are crystalline, have well defined atomic structure and chemical bondage, and occur naturally in rocks are called minerals. Quote unquote, you have to follow this definition. Elements or compounds that are crystalline, have well defined atomic structure and chemical bondage, and occur naturally in rocks are called minerals. They have their own form, color, hardness and structure. We can't make any minerals in our laboratory. It is naturally developed by the inorganic way. A mineral can be an element, like diamond is a form of carbon. So minerals can contain one element, like diamond contain only carbon. A mineral can also be a compound of several elements. Sometimes more than one element consists to develop a mineral. For example, the pink orthoclase feldspar is composed of potassium, aluminium, silicon and oxygen. Till now, approximately 2000 minerals are being invented, but 8 elements that are silicon, oxygen, iron, aluminium, magnesium, calcium, sodium and potassium form the best part of most rock forming minerals in nature. So you have to remember the names of these 8 elements which are very important to form rock: silicon, oxygen, iron, aluminium, magnesium, calcium, sodium and potassium. The next part is the brief accounts of some important minerals. Here is quartz in the first. you have already known about the name quartzite, but quartzite is an example of metamorphic rocks which are transformed from sandstone, but the name of special mineral is quartz. So you have to remember the difference between quartz and quartzite. Quartzite is an example of metamorphic rocks, but quartz is an example of mineral. So let's see what are written here. Quartz, very hard, often whitish, having hexagonal crystals. It is the main constituents of granite and basalt. So granite and basalts contain quartz, and these are very hard, white in color, and have hexagonal crystals. Due to quartz, granite and basalts are very resistant to erosion, and it is used as stone cutter, glass cutter, and in ornaments. So quartz is used, or the rocks which are harder, or the minerals, only the minerals which are very harder are used to cutting the less hardening minerals or rocks, like quartz are used to cut stone, glass, and in cutting ornaments also. The next mineral is feldspar. Feldspar, white or pink feldspar, is another main constituent of granite and basalt. So feldspar may be white or may be pink in color, and it also remain in the rock, granite and basalt. Sodium is the main chemical substance in the white plagioclase feldspar, as potassium is that in the pink orthoclase variety. So feldspar are of two types, white feldspar and pink feldspar. White feldspar is known as white plagioclase feldspar, and pink feldspar is known as pink orthoclase feldspar, and the color is changed due to its substance. As sodium is the main chemical compound in the white plagioclase feldspar, its color is white, and potassium is the main component of pink orthoclase feldspar, so its color is like that. Feldspar is smooth like a slate and used in the glass and ceramic industry. Next is mica. Mica is lustrous, smooth, flaky, and brittle in nature. It may be of two types, white mica and black mica. White mica is known as muscovite and black mica is known as biotite. Its presence gives granite its luster. As mica presents in the granite rock, so it looks glazy or it sparks. Mica is a poor conductor of heat and electricity. It is used in preparing electrical goods, decorative glitters and paint. Next is gypsum. Gypsum fairly soft, light yellow colored. Gypsum is a hydrated crystal of calcium sulfate. It is used in making cement, fertilizers, and in construction industries. So, the uses of all these minerals, quartz, feldspar, mica and gypsum, you have to note in your notebook and remember it properly. And also the types of feldspar and mica you should know. The next point is Mohs scale. Mohs scale of hardness measures the hardness of minerals. This scale is graduated from 1 to 10. Actually, Frederick Mohs in 1822 invented these scales. The Mohs hardness scale is used as a convenient way to help identify minerals. A mineral's hardness is a measure of its relative resistance to scratching, measured by scratching the mineral against another substance of known hardness on the Mohs. So, Mohs scale is the scale to confine the hardness of the minerals, and its scales extends from unit 1 to 10. In the Mohs scale, if the mineral's hardness remains in 1, it will be the soft mineral, and if the hardness is on 10, it will be the hardest mineral. Like diamond is the hardest mineral which have index on 10, but talc is the softest mineral which have an index on 1. So, you have to note a brief discussion about Mohs scale, and you have to know this. And if you want to write on this topic, you may take the help of Google also. And the next point is, in this page, I am glittery, black or white. I am soft and malleable. I am a main constituent mineral of granite. Can you say who I am? It will be the answer mica. Mica is black or white in color. Mica is glitter and it is soft, and it is the main constituent of granite. And in the next page, in the page number 27, there is the discussion about the effect of minerals. The influence of minerals is very much evident in nature. Soil rich in iron and aluminium is hard and red at the top. Soil rich in gypsum is soft and light yellow in color. Abundance of soft calcite leads to the formation of limestone, which is very prone to erosion. soft, porous and permeable sedimentary rocks are abundant in places where petroleum and natural gas are found. Soils with an excess of minerals like oxides of iron and aluminium in laterite or red soil are less fertile and perform poorly in agriculture. The Choto Nagpur Plateau region of India is called the storehouse of minerals in India because it has huge reserves of iron. So, not only iron, copper, bauxite, manganese, dolomite, mica, etc. The main occupation of the people of this region are related to mining or mineral based industries. So, you have to point out this from this section the effect of minerals on the soil or landforms point by point. And you know that soils are formed mainly by the disintegration or erosion of rocks or rock particles, and rocks are composed of different types of minerals. So different types of minerals have different characteristics in terms of its permeability, porosity, its characteristics, its color, and its capacity to contain valuable minerals. So soils of different areas or different regions varies due to existence of different types of minerals. Like the region where the minerals like aluminium and iron are found in the soil, they are looking like red, and the soil where gypsum is found, it will be light yellow in color. And if the soft calcite minerals are found in some regions, the rocks will be limestone type, and these limestone rocks which are rich in calcite are very prone to erosional effect. And soft, porous, permeable sedimentary rocks are abundant in places where petroleum and natural gas are found, because natural gas, petroleums are mainly found in the soft, porous, permeable layers of sedimentary rocks, and these regions are economically very rich. And soils with the existence of minerals like oxides of iron and aluminium, the soil is called as laterite or red soil in that region, are poor for agriculture or for cultivation, and because they can't contain water there, and they are very because of and these type of laterite soil are mainly found in the Choto Nagpur Plateau region, Western Ghats, etc. And Choto Nagpur Plateau region is very rich in valuable minerals like iron, copper, bauxite, manganese, dolomite, etc. So it's called as the storehouse of minerals in India. you may write down these points in your notebook about a brief discussion of the storehouse of minerals is called the Chotanagpur Plateau region because it is rich. This region is rich in the reservation of iron, copper, bauxite, manganese, dolomite, mica, etc. And because of these minerals, various types of mines are here found, and the main occupation of the people in these regions are related to mining because in the mines various types of minerals are extracted here. Next, here is a question. Name a plateau region in India other than Chotanagpur that is rich in mineral deposits. The answer will be Deccan Plateau, and the Deccan Plateau is rich in different type of minerals like iron ore, coal, chromite, mica, asbestos, kyanite, etc. And the last topic is formation of soil from rocks. Uh, soil Soils are mainly found on the upper surface of the earth, and it is the thin film of rock debris and organic matters on parent rock that sustains living beings is called soil. So, what is soil? The answer will be the thin film of rock debris and organic matters on parent rock that sustains living beings is called soil. And how soil is being formed? Soil is formed from the parent rock. The loose material or the upper layer of the mantle rock consisting mainly of very small particles is known as soil, and soil is mainly formed from the parent materials, but the other factors that affect the formation of soils are climate, relief, and physical, chemical, and biological agents that are also affect or influence the formation of soil. Soil mainly consists of mineral particles, and mineral particles are derived from different types of rocks and various decayed organic materials, soil water, soil atmosphere, living organisms also exist in the soil. And soil is mainly derived from the parent rock. Parent material includes both hard and resistant rocks like granite, slate, etc. And also less resistant rocks such as volcanic lavas, ashes, most of the sedimentary rocks like sandstone, clay, silt, limestone, all of are categorized in the parent materials, and from the parent materials soils are developed. Soils to various natural agents like river, wind, rainfall, sea waves, glacier, etc. degrade these rocks particle and minerals over a long period of time, and from the degradation of these rock particles or the disintegration of rocks and the loose rock particles or fine rock debris, loose rock debris form the soil, but the debris of rocks or the loose debris of rocks is known as regolith. Regolith is the previous stage of the formation of soil. After formation of regolith, these debris then interacts naturally with water, air and organic matter to form soil. So after development of regolith, soil is being developed after a long period of time. So time is also an important part for the development of soil, as parent rock, as climate, relief, physical, chemical, biological agents are important for the formation of soil. Time is also an important part for the formation of soil. If time is being given to the nature, complete soil is being formed. Otherwise the soil will be immature. The characteristics features of a soil usually depend on the nature of the layer of rock underneath. The soil totally depend on the rock, because soil, after all, soils are the degraded part of that parent rock. So soils are basically depends on the parent rock. For example, black soil is derived from the rock basalt, and red soil is developed from the rock granite, and sandy soils are being formed from the sandstone respectively. So parent rocks mainly affect the formation of soil, but the other effects which I have already told you, like climate, relief, physical or chemical or biological agents, time, etc., also influence the formation of soil, but mainly the formation of soil depends on the parent rock, and parent rock categorize the type of soil specially. For example, in your textbook have 3 types of soil. Black soil from the rock basalt, red soil from the rock granite, and the sandy soil from the parent rock sandstone are written here. And here is a box. Identify me. I have a smooth and attractive appearance. I am used in making floors. I have been used in constructing famous architectural landmarks, including the Victoria Memorial. Who am I? Answer. Think and answer. It will be marble. I am a very hard, fine-grained, grey-black rock. I am commonly used in constructing roads. Water can easily pass through me. Who am I? I am basalt. Okay, the answer will be basalt. Basalt rocks are grey or black color. It is used for the construction of roads, and water can easily passes through basalt rocks. So it's are used for the formation of track ballast, which I have told you already. Track ballast, which are used in the railway track for the passing water or for the proper drainage. Okay, here is a match the following. Okay, limestone, sandstone, granite, great pressure, basalt, marble, potassium, calcium sulfate. And the side B contain rounded landforms, a cause of metamorphosis of gypsum, stalactite, flat top landforms, metamorphic rocks, orthoclase feldspar, sedimentary rock. It's your homework. You have to done this in your textbook, in your text copy at home. Okay, I have already told you. For example, granite will be the rounded landforms. Great pressure will be the a cause of metamorphosis. Basalt will be the flat topped landforms. Okay, marble, metamorphic rocks. Potassium will be the potassium will be the orthoclase feldspar. No, you have to done by own after thoroughly reading the lesson. It's your homework. Okay, today's class is over. Thank you, and it's your last class, rocks and minerals. Next we will meet in the next class. Stay safe.